scratching a vast art, Scott.
Makes it 3-4 pay 1-2s.
Yeah.
Four pay 1-2s on the program and 2 fields of 8. So very, very slight on number.
And indeed, that is the case again tomorrow for the 1,000 guineas and the Lex Piper Digs. We've been discussing all sorts of racing matters there through the week off air before we even come on and talk about these type of meetings, and we look at some of the big issues involved in racing, and certainly it's the number, the depth, the quality, the volume of horses that isn't there at the moment for one reason or another. And you're a very deep diver into the analytics of racing. Have you got a ballpark sort of a view on it?
Not really, Darren, and I don't think it's exclusive to Western Australia. It seems to be Australia-wide.
Look at the All-Star Mile
Yeah,
today.
All-Star
Field of
Mile,
7.
quality as opposed to quantity. And you know, we're looking here locally because we've got the Bluff Knoll next week, Scott, then we have a Rock Magic Stakes, then we have a Roma Cup leading into a Quokka and also a Joey. So our sprinting ranks, they aren't loaded up with quality at that top end at the moment, and I think we might be a little bit light on as we advance throughout the autumn.
No, you'd like to see a fair few big names heading back to trials in the next few weeks because timing-wise, we're just not seeing them at the minute. We saw Joker's Grin trial last week. He's probably a horse that we've all got a high expectation of over the next 3 to 6 months, but it doesn't matter where you look at the moment. The Marjorie Charleston last week, small field of select mares.
Again.
Are they going to stand up and be the next big, powerful sprinters at a Quokka level? Probably not. We've just come through a Pinjarra Classic. All the races that were leading into that, the Cyril Flower was a small field.
Lex Piper tomorrow, you've only got, 7 going around there, and they're your sprinter miler type horses, you would think, going into their 4-year-old season. But I think if the market's got, an overview that there's only 2 horses worth following there, that's what it might indicate at the moment. It just doesn't seem to have any real depth, and the volume of the numbers very, very much missing at the moment. So, and just back to the Bluff Knoll there, they still and I asked the question here, where are they at the moment in terms of filling up the numbers down there for the slot holders?
Well, as far as I can tell, I've been following the Bluff Knoll quite closely in recent days. I believe they're up to a field of 10 so far. From what I understand, there's still probably 3 slots.
But really struggling to fill those slots?
Well, that race is next Sunday. So it's going to need to fill up quite quickly.
Yeah, you would have liked to have had it signed, sealed and delivered well and truly by now. So look, these are some issues here that no doubt Diggs, you and Tim and the team will be discussing over the next few weeks as well.
Well, I think at sprinting ranks, we've talked about it for quite a while now. I feel as though we're in a transition period. For me, potentially and hopefully, one of the biggest next sprinters from our state is Rope Them In, who will go to that Bluff Knoll. But if you looked at the Winterbottom Stakes last year, the first WA horse past the post was Hot Zed.
Yeah, exactly. And then the next wave was Rope Them In, Rock and Rupert and the like. But yeah,
well, Rock and Rupert ran 5th.
Yeah, and he ran very well.
What's he done since?
No, exactly right. I think he was winless throughout his campaign, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he ran well, but yeah. So, yeah, a little bit of a concern going forward, but we'll see how it all plays out.
Going to be a big talking point, no doubt, over the next number of weeks. Let's go to the changes for the day. And at the moment, I'm just trying to bring up our track condition here. It's fine. And the track, I'm assuming it's a good 4. I haven't got that information here on my screen at the moment, but fine conditions, the forecast down there in Bunbury as we go to the first for the day. Rail at 3 last year, I think it was at the True. It was a really leader-dominated day.
3's been the best pad, far and away, over the last 12 months. So I think...
to provide a level of evenness?
I think the decision to race at the 3 is extremely good.
Good call. All right, so Pay 1-2 starts the program here. We have no scratchings out of race 1, but a field of 7. Race 2, the Bunbury Brighter Handicap, and here there are no scratchings. We've got 8 going around in race 2. The third, the City and Regional Fuels Handicap. Again, it's a Pay 1-2 with a field of 7. Race 4, the time-honoured William Barrett and Sons Vase is clear of changes, and that leaves us with 8 to do battle in the 4th. The 5th event, the on-the-ball statewide Bearings Plate over 1200. Number 3, Artistry in Motion won't be going around there. Race 5, number 3. On to race 6, the Bunbury Volkswagen Handicap. Take out number 4, Invincible Ruby. to race 7 on the card, the Tab Touch Bunbury Stakes, the first of our 2 listed features today. And Vast Start, as Diggs has mentioned, number 3 has come out. So down to 7 running. That'd be the smallest field that I could ever recall running around in a Bunbury Stakes. Just the 7, a pay 1-2 in the feature sprint here this afternoon. Race 8, the Swan Draught Bunbury Cup. And here we'll take out number 17, Brave Contender. As the scratching there, the emergency can come out now. And in the final race for the day, there are quite a few scratchings here. And we start at 1, Starring Night, 2, Eccentric Nature, 6, Mean Machine, and 11, Hell of a Goddess. So there's quite a few here. The last has been plundered by scratchings, and a total of 4, leaving us with just 8 to do battle in the last leg of the quaddie. All the riders are as published in the guides. No changes there. Meeting opening at 19 after 12. A bit to discuss. We'll take a very quick break here, Matt, and then be back to rip through the program with Digby and Scotty next. 11 after 8, nearly 22 degrees here on Election Day for 2025. Have you cast your vote there, Scotty? Nice and early?
Weeks ago.
Well done. Forward planning. You'll be going there just for the sausage sizzle, I know you.
But you're talking to me.
Oh, well, naturally.
Yes, I've got to vote post-show, so I'm going to vote in Churchlands, I think is my area. So,
Okay. And who's the...
Basilica Sempalis.
Oh, right.
Basil.
The big fella.
Baz, yes.
Okay,
Basil.
winning margin.
Yeah, well, hopefully
nose.
a big nose. No, let's hope that he goes well as he continues his foray
good luck,
into
Baz.
politics. He's up and about, so he's been everywhere throughout the neighbourhood. So we'll see what happens.
Good on him. Well done. And, well, all the best to all the running representatives here. Those that might be the incumbents and those trying to get in. So anyway, let's go to the market here. Nothing to do with politics, but Matt, betting on Tab Touch, race 1.
Number 1, Success Play at $7.50. Terra Tiff $1.36. Striking Fella 16. Roundabout Glory 18. Beljourney 12. Best of the Gods $7.50. And Hula Hoops at 34.
Well, very short. This has got right down into the deepest of red figures. Oh, look, is it a case of tip no bet, or can you see it getting maybe beaten? Its highest winning weight, Terra Tiff's been 55.5. Goes to 1,700, gets an extra 3.5 kilos. I'm trying to just be the devil's advocate here.
I couldn't see a world in which she was beaten last week. Today, I think there's those little judgment clouds in the back of your mind. The 59, the 1690. You know, we're pushing out in distance now. It's a 1,700. Let's be honest. It's not a mile.
Yeah, one step.
Wow. I'm going to tip into her, but gee, 136. She's mighty, mighty short. 2 Terra Tiff. I think we can skip through this. 1 Success Play. I thought if there was a danger, it would be Success Play because I thought it was an opportunity here today that Success Play bounced on the front and controlled the race. And from there, that's how he won 3 starts ago. 6 Best of the Gods. Heard Sean McGrady talk about this horse yesterday, just looking for a bit of cover today rather than being outside the leader like he was last week. And 4 Roundabout Glory had an excuse behind Rocket Juice last time out. 2, 1, 6 and 4. Terra Tiff got into as low as 132 last week. On the way that she's going, she could be even shorter today, which is scary. 2, 1, 6, 4.
Diggs, is the form of Chino La Diva, and dare I say it, here for checks, better than King Adviso, Mystic Jane? Best of the Gods put together a couple of wins down there in Albany, and then was beaten 3 in the West Speed race to Chino La Diva. And then went to the mile and got beaten under a couple of lengths behind here for checks last weekend. So it's on the 7-day spin. I mean, the value, just trying to find a reason to back one to beat Terra Tiff at this ridiculously short price.
It's a TNB, isn't it? It's a tip no bet. I'm also with Scott in regards to Terra Tiff. This is a step up, not only in class but also in distance, obviously, on both fronts. But William Pike is a master at being able just to stay balanced aboard his mounts and then push the button and get the most out of them. So I suspect that will be the case again today. Terra Tiff will stalk them and hopefully zap them. So 2, 6, 1, 5, not much more to add. I've got Best of the Gods in there. You're likely to get a lovely run there from that gate. Success Play can be very prominent. And 5 Beljourney, 2 starts ago, wasn't disgraced behind Big Day on it. We'll touch on that a little bit later. 2, 6, 1, 5.
I haven't forgiven the whiz at this stage for costing me tipping the card on Thursday, but I hope he gets this favourite home.
Toot toot.
Yep, there you go. 2, On Cue, Terratif. 6, Best of the Gods.
Trumpets McAullay.
1, Success Play. And 4, Roundabout Glory Diggs. It doesn't happen very often.
No, I know.
Went within a head only the second time in 40-odd years of calling. The first time, I think I went close, and it was the last race at Wage and Trots, Matt, down there on the old track under the sort of the old tennis court lights.
I don't even think I was a twinkle.
I don't think you were
track.
in his eye. No, not back then. Went within, I think, a half ahead of tipping the car that night, but look, it's too hard to do. You've done it a few times.
It's not for everyone.
No, I know. I want to bring you in.
Here we go.
I was just offering you a bit of candy there, mate. Like, how many times have you
Darren,
tipped
weren't
the
we
card?
going to rush through this preview?
Yeah, we were, but hang on. Come on, Matt said you got to push my tyres.
I have tipped the card on 4 occasions.
4 occasions, that all. Okay. I'll be 2, Terratif to beat 6, Best of the Gods, 1, Success Play, and 4, Roundabout Glory. 2, 6, 1, 4. Nothing particularly special about those numbers in the first, Digby.
2614 for Darren, 2164 for Scotty, 2615 for Diggers in race number 1. Let's have a look now at race number 2 on the program here, which is coming up at the time of 12:54. 1 Filthy Habits, $5. Number 2 here for checks at $3.10. 3 Big Day on at $13. 4 What a Prince, $23. Above the peg, $4. Manavendra, $4.40. Forever Dreaming at $10. And 8 Red Dwarf at $34.
Sometimes a win can push horses into a confidence level, and I'm going to try and hang my hat on anything here to suggest here that maybe that here for checks off 7 days, having come off 7 days, can go again. But it was an enormous level of relief for Pat Carberry and Bernie Miller, and you could sense that post-race.
Exactly right. I think Scott spoke to Pat post-race last Saturday after here for checks 1, and you could see the relief on Paddy's face with a bit of a smirk as well, Scott.
He hasn't been popular in this room.
No.
2 starts ago, I made him the best bet and he turned it up. Digby made him the lay of the day last week.
And he wins.
And he got the job done.
He's an enigma, the horse. I'm not sure. What do you do with him today then, Scott? Because in all likelihood, he encounters a beautiful run.
Well, he's landed into a very winnable 66 plus.
Agree.
There's no stars in this.
No.
And you're right, he will get a great run. I would imagine that Big Day On It has the speed to lead. I'd imagine that they're happy to sit in the box seat with here for checks, and I would imagine that Lucy Fiore is pretty keen to get Filthy Habits as close to the pace as she can to make sure that he's not cluttered away, because he just needs to build momentum from so far out. He can win this here for checks, no doubt about it.
He can, absolutely. I can't tip into him having made him a lay last week, and that was in 60 plus grade. Now he goes to 66. So I've tried to work around him, and I'm convinced myself that Filthy Habits, who Scott just mentioned previously, is going along well. Now the 2 trials at Bunbury on the fibre have been solid. Is he short of his best trip? Yes. Is he able to peer one out fresh over the 1,700 metres? Off what we've seen at the trials, I would think yes. And you're getting an each way quote. So that was the way I went.
I think that you're very close to the money, actually. I'm going to tumble into here for checks. Found him last week, but only just. But I'm going to just sort of roll the dice and think maybe that confidence type of aspect where horses can win one and they can frustrate the living heck out of you, and then all of a sudden they'll put together maybe, a couple of wins on the bounce. So, look, this is more guessing than knowing. 2 here for checks. 1, I do agree, Filthy Habits on the fresh side at the 1,700 there. I think we can get a really good run, particularly as he has done this in the past and has had that foundation there with those 2 winning trials there. Manavendra, although it's had 3 goes down here and hasn't been placed, I'm going to include low draw, and 5 above the peg. I thought the local might be able to work its way somewhere there into the top 4 in your exotics. 2, 1, 6 and 5, Scott?
1, 5, 2 and 6. I went with Filthy Habits first up at the 1690. Liked both of his 900-metre trials, and for him to be holding his own in 900-metre trials says that he's in good order. 5 above the peg. He is an out-and-out 7-day spin-around horse. Every time that Simon Miller backed him up, he went incredibly well. His last victory was off 7 days. So 5 for me above the peg, in as the danger. 2 here for checks. He can win, but he lost me forever on the 22nd of February. That will forever be our divorce date. And 6 in Manavendra. Last time he won a race was Esperance Cup of last year. He's had a lot of racing in between and just seems to lack a bit of a killer blow. 1526 for me.
Same
Okay.
4 numbers, different order. 1, 2, 5, 6 here with Filthy Habits in the second.
Rightio. There we go with our look at the second race on the program here. A bit of a mixed bag in some respects. Filthy Habits popular enough though, and indications are that it's going to go very, very well first up.
2165 for you, Darren, and then we have 12564 Digby, 15264 Scotty in race number 2. Let's have a look now at race number 3 on the program. This race is the City and Regional Fuels Handicap. It's over the 1,400 metres, 1:34 is start time. Pay 1-2, 1 Fluoro Neuro at $2.80, 2 Influencing at $3.70, 3 Material Witness 17, 4 Yarra Lee $6.50, Heskett $11, without reg at $9, and Brimstone is at $5.50.
Another horse that I found very hard to try and tap into on a winning day is Fluoro Neuro, but you can't fault the way that it's going about things, going for a hat-trick of victories this afternoon. Now goes to the 59 kilos. Will run favourite here in race number 3. Do we stick, or are we going to be looking elsewhere?
I thought the more interesting part was, do they ride him in the exact same manner that proved fruitful last week? Kick him out and sit him up on the pace. Because Material Witness is the leader. That leaves Influencing in the box seat, and it leaves no horse in the breeze. So for me, I thought that Clint Johnston-Porter, if he wanted to, could park Fluoro Neuro up on the pace again, considering that it worked last week. He's on the 7 days. He's back to 1,400. So he's fit. He's tough. I didn't see a reason why they wouldn't try and reproduce that settling position.
Can understand that. I thought it was a tricky little race to dissect, to be fair.
I'm looking elsewhere.
Where are
I've
you
gone
looking?
right down to the very bottom here. I'm going to suggest that maybe if we play 7 Brimstone each way, we might be able to get a result. 52.5 kilos. First up, Golden Vale coming from the back, settled there, but the numbers it still produced in finishing back there were okay. And then at its next start, nearly broke 34 behind Watch Me Rock, who, of course, is going to be popular. And I'll telegram it, will be my tip today in the Bunbury Stakes. So it was beaten a couple of lengths there, home in 34.06. Now, third up in a campaign, has had 4 goes for 2 wins and a placing. And whilst it'll probably just park back a bit off the speed there, there's not too many of them to get around, and trained on track. I know that Robbie and Kate Whitten would love to win a race on a day like this down in the southwest. 52.5 got me, and so did the price. So I'm going to play the 7 here, Brimstone, boys.
Good run last start, and Watch Me Rock being the obvious, but the runner-up Angel Undercover went close to beating Generosity and Twain's Angel last week. Nothing wrong with the form lines through there. I stuck, though, with Fluoro Neuro. I thought he could win again off the 7 days. 7 the danger, though. Brimstone, agree with everything you've said. Probably a little bit of a nag that he hasn't won for near on 1,000 days, but since he's arrived here in the West, he's been handy enough in his 2 runs.
It's okay, mate. I got Schubeck home the other day.
We were 3 races in, you've given yourself 3 pats on the back.
I know.
This is enough.
Doesn't happen
You'll dislocate that shoulder soon.
No, it's okay.
5 in for third, Heskett. He's a track specialist. And 4, Yarra Lee. Might just be towards the end of a pretty searching preparation, but she won well 3 starts ago, beating Sensational. 1754.
Yeah, I'm with Yarra Lee here, just perhaps chasing a little bit of value. She is at the tail end of a long campaign, as Scott mentioned, but you go through her form lines, in particular her last 4. It's investment strategy, Sensational twice, and Captain Pluto. Now, we're going to have a chat about Captain Pluto heading towards a Bunbury Cup in a little while. So she'll stalk, and she has got a good turn of foot, and she's got a very winnable weight. She drops 2.5 kilos from that most recent encounter when 8th of 11th down there at Pinjarra behind Captain Pluto, beaten only 2.5. So 4 each way from 7 Brimstone, 1 Fluoro Neuro, and 5 Heskett.
1 Fluoro Neuro will be very, very hard to beat. But I thought that maybe if we just go with Brimstone here from the value perspective and mark down 7 from 1, 4 Yarra Lee and 6 without reg, I'm going to include first up as my next pick in the race. Again, dragging back to that Watch Me Rock form back in September of last year. He's a horse that can always bob up. So 7, 1, 4 and 6 each way. Matt in the third.
7146 for Darren, 1754 for Scott, Digby 4715 in a race number 3. The 4th is the William Barrett and Sons Vase Handicap, 1200 metres, start time of 2:16. Number 1, Play That Funky Music, 13. Number 2 is Lon's Delight at $5.50. 3 Miss Flirtatious at $8. Just St. James $2.75. Cessation $2.65. Bellini Miss $19. Mini Winnie $41 with Split Jeet at $41. These two favourites having a look. $3 down to $2.75. Just St. James, and Cessation $3 into $2.65. So equal support.
Okay, then a big drifter there is Miss Flirtatious in the market, getting out to around $8. What have you made of that, Diggs? Just St. James flying at the moment there, I think very hard to beat, but can't believe the big drift there with this mare of Luke Fernie's.
Well, she'll get a good run. It's just whether she is going as well as she was when she was freshened back there on the 25th of January and produced a really good performance beating Lexington City. Scott mentioned earlier today that the rail at 3 would normally suggest that this is a fair pad, and I think if it is a fair pad down there today, Scott, you've got Just St. James being very strongly considered by a lot of people because he can stand you a start and he can zap you. That is what we saw 2 starts ago in the most recent run at Pinjarra behind a horse who has since won again, was very, very good.
Well, let's talk about that win 2 starts ago, because that day he ran straight past Cessation.
Yep.
Am I missing something? Does he not deserve to be favourite over her?
I would have thought her jumping into this grade was a giant leap. Not being disrespectful to Cessation, she was a good winner the other day, but that's Westbead Platinum.
Jared riding 55.5 on the Saturday is a good lead.
Yes.
At the same time, she's also stretched at the back end of 1200.
I would have thought so.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, for sure.
Oh, I was surprised. I thought Just St. James, on the fact that he beat her comfortably 2 starts back, meant that he deserved to be favourite over her again. So I'll lead the charge for Just St. James. Not only did Rocking Gem win again, the third horse Shooting Spirit came out and gave them a galloping lesson at the midweekers. So that straight track form has held up really nicely in the last 21 days. For Just St. James, gets weight relief as well, back around a bend. I like him in this. 3 Miss Flirtatious. She's going really well. She can either lead if she wants to, or she could hand up to a mare like Cessation, or if they elect to play that funky music aggressively. Either way, she gets a nice run. 5 Cessation, just wary that 1200 metres seems to really stretch her. I know she's only been to the 1200 once, but that day she kicked clear on straightening and then really tiptoed late. And 2 Lon's Delight, if the track is fair and they can make ground, he's also a big winning chance. He's through that Watch Me Rock Angel undercover form. 4-3-5-2.
Digby?
4-5-1-3 for me. Just St. James from Cessation. They lock horns again, and Just St. James needs a fair pad. If he gets that today, I think he's going to be awfully hard to beat. No knock Cessation, 55.5, as Scott said. Jared riding on a Saturday. That's a good push. One, Play That Funky Music, trialled on Tuesday. It's been a long time since we've seen him at the races. Good to see him back. Gets shades today. This was always a target race. And 3 Miss Flirtatious, by virtue of where she's going to land in the run. 4-5-1-3.
I thought it was the best bet for the day. Just St. James, I'm going to label it here in race 4, number 4. I guess the Omen players are going to be rubbing their hands with delight when they see Cessation running in a race that's sponsored by a funeral director. There's a nice little bit of Omen there with William Barrett and Sons, long-time sponsors of this race. And I thought that Miss Flirtatious, where she's mapped to get this run, I can't believe the price she's getting out. She's very backable now under these circumstances. 5 Cessation, 2 Lon's Delight, 4, 3, 5 and 2 for me. Matty, in race 4.
4, 3, 5 and 2. That are the same set of numbers for Scotty, and Digby 4, 5, 1 and 3. Up to race 5 we go. This is at the time of 2:55, the on-the-ball statewide bearings plate. We have 3 A scratching, 1 Loves Talking at 2:45, 2 Spirited Strike 9:50, 4 Fiery Spark at 11. The 5, My Authorita at $4. The 6 is Mr. Chino at 26. Hard Solo 17. A few of those will be consumed today. Solar Crest at $4.80. Why She Stayed 61 with Pure Silver, and 11 Searching Times at $16.
Oh, I'm a bit of a higher Ketsu man myself there, buddy. Good Lion product, sponsor of the day. Nice drop. Nice drop. You'll drink anything, Diggs, but what will you be tipping here in race 5?
Oh, I like one here. I like one. I like one out of the trials.
Do you?
Oh, yes. Making it the best. I'm taking a leap of faith.
Wow.
My Authority.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's been crowed around the place this week.
And unlike you two, you're not normally a Monday trial to Saturday man, let alone a Tuesday trial to Saturday man.
2 trials, though. I think the fact that he's had a couple and the 1200 is perfect.
Buried away in those trials.
Yeah, stretched his legs nicely. And Scott's right. Normally, I'm hard against the Monday/Tuesday trial into a Saturday, but he just looks a beautifully balanced racehorse, and he's a cheapie. He's an $80,000 playing god. You don't get many of them that look like they possess his talent levels. Now, Loves Talking, fast, good filly. Luke Fernie's always had an opinion of her. She did what I think Luke expected she would do on debut. She's got a wide gate. She'll come across. The tempo will be strong here, Scott. I'm just thinking my Authoritar can wind up in the straight and make his presence felt.
I'll agree and disagree. Will the pace actually be that strong?
I thought it would do.
I think she'll cross him easy.
Do you?
Loves Talking.
Yeah, like real easy.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I didn't see there was a lot of speed in the race. Truly, for a 2-year-old 1200, I think that she can, from barrier 10, speed across, find the fence. I'm not tipping her to win the race. I think it's a tricky affair, quite frankly. I'd take your point because Blind Freddie wanted to tell us all about my Authoritar and how it's been trialled and how it's been sort of, just snagged back in behind them and just working its way through and doing everything nicely, building the foundation. But then Loves Talking's got a kill on the board, sold at Crest, meets it better at the weights today. I think there's another one in the race there called Spirited Strike who caught the eye. It'll probably have to go out the back to a degree from barrier 7, but I like what I saw there as well. If you're trying to speculate on horses that can come forward out of what they do first up, Scotty.
It's always a tough one. It's one thing to travel around comfortably in behind a slow speed at the trials, and it's another thing to be put under pressure on race day, especially with a horse that can stay out of trouble like a Loves Talking. I've convinced myself that she crosses comfortably, and if that's the case, then she'll be very hard to run down. She was awfully impressive.
She's very good, wasn't she? Very good.
I saw no reason not to go with her. 1, Loves Talking. 5, My Authoritar. The trials were very impressive, but he has to do it on race day. One that hasn't copped a mention yet. Any love for Search and Rock's little sister?
Yeah.
Search and Times?
That's why I thought, off what we saw at the trials, I'd expect that she would jump and be very positive, Kira, aboard this filly.
Talk about pushes too. Kiri was riding 54 kilos for her today.
Yeah.
That has to be a push.
I think if you go back to that trial on the 25th of November, that was a really high rating trial that she produced. And look, she had blinkers on in that trial. There's no blinkers here first up, but, the pedigree says a lot too, being this sister to such a great filly and mare like Search and Rocks. You'd like to think that she's half as good. She'll be winning a share of races. I thought it was a fairly even affair, this race, Diggs.
Yeah, well, I'm keen. I'm keen here, the 5, My Authoritar. Love the trials. He just looks a natural to my eye now. Whether he'll be suited over further, probably will be. He could even be a size type, I don't know. We'll see how he goes today, but I've loved the trials and I think he gets a lovely run in behind what I thought would be a decent enough tempo and allow him to wind up. So 5 on top, 1, clearly the danger. Loves Talking. Love the debut effort. She's a fast filly and she'll have the benefit of the rail, you would think, today. I have Solar Crest in for 3rd. No knock there. Was 3rd behind Loves Talking on debut. It's a filly. It's a lovely type. She's always been a good, strong filly. The trial at Bunbury was good. The debut run was sound. And 2, Spirited Strike on the quick spin behind Split the G. Trained or down that way as well. And off what we had seen at the trials previously, that wasn't a complete and utter shock. The debut effort 5 from 1, 8 and 2.
No, it was not to me, that is for sure. Got home, punched out a 34 and change last 600 from being virtually last on the corner, getting within a couple of lengths of the winner there that day. Goes to 1200 this afternoon, and maybe it sets it up for a horse who can hit the line hard like a Spirited Strike. Diggs, the dam has produced her share of winners, 5 relations that have all won, so it's a winning pedigree. It's got to 950 in the betting markets. It's each way for me. I'm going 2. I thought it could beat 8 Solar Crest from Tony Triscari's yard. With the 2 kilo spin again, it gave Loves Talking a head start. It got within a length and 3/4 at the finish. Like the way that it hit the line. 1, Loves Talking clearly. If it bounces to the bunny and finds the front there and can dictate, hard to run down. And 5, My Authoritar for everything that you have uncovered in the trials, Diggs. 2, 8, 1 and 5, and with a very healthy respect for 11 certain times, but I would love to see a set of blinkers on. If the way she trialled in them back in November is any indication, she's clearly a horse who will love the shades when they do fit them up. So 2, 8, 1 and 5 there. Interesting affair, the fifth event, Matt.
2815 for Darren, 5182 for Digby, and Scotty, if I could have your numbers again.
1511 and 2.
1511 and 2 in race number 5. On to race number 6, this is the Bunbury Volkswagen handicap and 3:34 start time. You can take out the 4. One Ruler Rock at 13, Sky Duke at 7. And Magnasonic at 14, 5 Barney's World 460, 6 Scorpion Ruler 440, 7 Best Mood at $8, Prize Recruit 750, Brazen Bid 480, and Fans at $26.
Yeah, again, I think there's a bit of appeal in the race. If you think you can find the winner, you get a bit of value for your dollar there. Boys, Scotty, Diggs, how will you be playing race 6, the opening leg of the quaddie? I thought maybe Scorpion Ruler getting to 440 was a nice enough little carrot.
Well, went up 460. Got into 380, then the notification came through, bar plates on, back out to 440.
Yeah, right.
It's a cause for frustration. Always has been, always will be.
There we go. Well, I did miss that, I must admit. I did not see the bar plates going on. I'm going to temper my enthusiasm.
Same. Yep. I tipped Scorpion Ruler, but now that those bar plates are on, I will pour cold water. It's just history's on your side. You're better off approaching it with caution. The form through Cessations on show earlier on, Jazz Session got the job done midweek. It looked like the right form. It looked like the right setup for the mare, but I just don't like seeing that gear change. 6 Scorpion Ruler. It's hard to poke holes in what Prize Recruit's done this time in. He's won down the straight. He backed it up in a slow time. He was able to control and dictate terms, but he still looked good doing it. The other day, I put him in for second. Barney's World, the market says that he's the one you need to pay a lot of respect to. He's been the big firmer all the way through, and he has beaten Generosity home previously. So he's no slouch on his day. He obviously has a few issues from time to time, but that first up run last prep with an apprentice on behind All Play was very good without much luck in running. 6, 8, 5, and I included the speedy Sky Duke 2. The other one for consideration, clearly Brazen Bid. If you can be forgiving of last start when they took him to 1400, that prior run in a 3-year-old plate, a length and a half off London's Image, and the runner-up was Golden Vale.
That's right, and the previous effort to that also is Sound first up. So do you take the Hostile Talk London's Image in and use that and say, well, that's as good a form as you'll find in the race?
And quite possibly, you could take a very simplistic approach. They tried him at 1400, it didn't work. They now come back in distance. It has to be seen as a good thing.
I thought he might be the danger, if not now go close to winning, particularly with that big significant gear change on Scorpion Ruler, Diggs.
Yeah, not for me, Scorpion Ruler. Just the bars is the red flag. History says it is. So I'm with Barney's World. Scott referenced that first up run last start when was 4th of 8th on the 26th of October. That was behind All Play. Didn't have the best luck there, nor the best luck the start after that. Fresh horse, yes. Gate is perfect. So I would have thought Barney's World is worth a play here. So 5, the market likes him, and I can understand why. From 1, Ruler Rocket, 2 starts ago, was absolutely enormous behind Angel Undercover. Settled a little bit further back than perhaps first thought last start. That was on the 1st of February. Since been freshened, gets a claim, gets a good gate from which to operate today. So Ruler Rocket in for second. Prize Recruit, as Scott mentioned, no knock there. And I have Scorpion Ruler in to run top 4. Got her in for 4th, but yeah, very wary of the shoes on. 5, 1, 8 and 6.
Well, I had Scorpion Ruler down there as my lock in the race until this significant gear change. Changing on the run, I'm going to elevate the 9 Brazen Bid here back to 1100 today, I think, and maybe just look at it from an each-way perspective, only for the reason that the bars have gone now onto Scorpion Ruler. I'll leave it second and then probably include Sky Duke, although much better first up than second up historically. And Prize Recruit, how can you fault the form that Lou has this 3-year-old in at the moment? So, look, just a quick change of the tips there because of that reasoning. 9, 6, 2 and 8, I'll mark them. I didn't put Barney's World in there, but 650 into 460 suggests that other more astute judges than I believe that the horse can win first up.
How about Luke Fernie's interview yesterday?
He was bullish, wasn't he? He was bullish. So hopefully for Luke, he can have success with Barney's World because he gets the lot as the trainer and the owner.
Okay, all right. Well, that's how we see race 6 on the program, Matty.
Okay, 9628 for you, Darren. 6852 for Scott and 51864 for Digby in race number 6.
Press on regardless, I would suggest, here at this stage. We've got to get onto the road very, very early today to get to Bunbury.
Sure, why not? Let's go to race 7, the Tab Touch Bunbury Stakes. You can take out the 3. We're left with a field of 7. It is Pay 1, 2, Fixed and Tote. 1 Man Crush, $5. 2 Triple Missile at 10. 4 Bruce Almighty, 26. The 5 in Destiny at 34. Final Siren at $6.50. Ice Pick Nick at $3.80. And Watch Me Rock at $2.10.
Okay, Scotty, 7 running. Tactically, Final Siren. Straight to the lead?
I think
Is that how you work it out?
I think that's their best opportunity.
Yep. Bruce goes to the breeze? Or does Man Crush?
Either. I think Brucey will definitely eye it off. I thought that today was the chance for Final Siren to cross and find the front. If he comes across as a pair with Bruce, then Man Crush lobs 1-1.
And Willie lobs
1-2.
Okay, and Triple Missile will be out the back having to concede, you'd have to think.
Yep. And obviously that leaves Ice Picnic close enough to sort of holding up in the box seat.
Okay, any change to that? Little crystal ball speculation, Diggs?
No, I think that's fair enough. I would have thought Final Siren is your speed reference here. I thought maybe Man Crush would lob in a prominent spot, perhaps Breeze. I'm not sure. It'll be interesting to see what Luke elects to do aboard Bruce Almighty. But we talk about horses, Scott, who are, making their way through the grades, and you're trying to project to where they're going to get to. And I think there is an expectation, or certainly has been an expectation leading into this campaign, that Watch Me Rock was going to make it in stakes grade.
If he was to come through this victorious today, they could nearly tip him out straight after it and then aim up towards trying to get him to a railway.
Yep, Grant and Alana have done that historically, haven't they? They love to go into a spring knowing full well where they're at with their horses, i.e. for a railway.
If he got the job done today, he goes to 94.
Yep.
From there, you go to an Asian Bow, and then you go to a railway.
Correct, mate. Second up, bang, 3 weeks.
Strong, strapping 4-year-old, fits the right profile in every aspect. With Pike, he's into 210, drops down onto the limit here in a very small field, and you can see him just getting the right run, dragged into the race, and I'm very optimistic that Watch Me Rock can win a Bunbury Stakes and maybe pick up some bigger fruit down the track as well, Dig. So I'm going to play Watch Me Rock and with a level of confidence. I still think the Triple Missile shouldn't be dismissed here, particularly from a price perspective there. He's run overall in much better standard races than this edition of the Bunbury Stakes, and he didn't trial before the first up run in the Pinjarra Classic. He was a bit scratchy, as he can be coming out of the gates, but maybe the small field just allows him to, pick his way through, get to the line well late. And I thought maybe around that $10 mark, he needed to be included. Man Crush, Final Siren, if you knew that it could run the 1400.
Ice Picnic was the run of the race in the Pinjarra Classic.
Really good, wasn't he? Terrific. Box seats here. Steph's got him going super, it must be said, this fellow. The 1400, he has had a few goes at it and hasn't saluted, but that was, pre-Steph, and I'm not being disparaging to his previous trainers, but the bottom line is the horse is in really good order.
8 for me, Watch Me Rock. I thought he was the best bet on today's program. Just 54 kilos. He gets the right run. Since the blinkers went on, he's 3 from 3 undefeated, and all 3 of those victories have been equally as impressive as each other. The fact that he carried weight the other day, first up at a distance that was short of his best, the fact that he travelled up to them so effortlessly, I think he could well prove to be at a better level than this. 8, Watch Me Rock. 7, Ice Pick Nick. 1, Man Crush. 2, Triple Missile. I've got plenty of respect for him, but just in the end, if he concedes 5.5 kilos and a head start to Watch Me Rock in running, just becomes very difficult for him. 8, 7, 1, 2.
Yep, okay. 8 with you. Digby.
Yeah, 8 as well. I think he picks himself, Watch Me Rock. He just looks well placed in a race of this nature. So 8 on top. I actually concur with you in regards to Triple Missile, Darren. I think if there is to be a blowout, and it would be a big one because he hasn't won for in excess of 1,000 days, it's Triple Missile. You only have to go back to what he was doing in the spring. He was racing very, very well in better company than this. So I've got him in for second. He'll be flashing late. One Man Crush. He is a question mark at the 1,400 metres, and 7 Ice Picnic from that good gate. 8, 2, 1 and 7.
Yeah, I think when you're beaten under 2 Super Smink in an Asian Bow, you're beaten 2 to Port Lockroy in a Railway, and you're beaten 2 in a Gold Rush to Western Empire. You come to this calibre of race today, you'd be crazy not to be thinking that Triple Missile in a race where he's only got 6 other rivals, he's got to be there at $10. I think he's way over the odds. But 8, I think, is the one to beat. Watch Me Rock from Triple Missile, maybe Man Crush, Final Siren, but I certainly take your point there in regards to Ice Picnic. Can't tip them all, albeit a small field. 8-2-1-6, Matt.
8-2-1-6 for Darren, 8-7-1-2 Scott, 8-2-1-7 for Digby. On to the Swan Draught Bunbury Cup with the scratching of the 17, and this is over the 2019 metres. 4:41 is start time. One Alaskan God 41, Karamundi at 23, Antique Miss 550, Blazing Away 31, Red Sun Sensation is at 13. Captain Pluto at 370, Demolish at 13, Fat Roy Slim 150 to 1, Fear the Wind at 31, Flower in the Wind at 71, I Love Your Smile 23, Magic Whistle 18, Own the Queen $6, Sensational is at $6, So War at 41, and We Raid Chew at $21.
Right. Well, this is a nice even edition of the Bunbury Cup there too, and clearly... well, if you're looking at this race, if you can find the winner, you're going to again get pretty reasonable value about your investment going into it, Scotty. It's not an easy one to be confident about, given the fact that Blazing Away has won the last 2 editions of the race, coming off, I think it might have been 364 days each time, and follows a very similar form. Reference, he ran 11th in the Detonator before he won the Bunbury Cup last year. Ran 12th this year.
And it wasn't run to suit him.
No. Does it sort of happen again? Blazing Away. Does the three-peat occur? That'd be a story.
It'd be incredible scenes if it did.
Not for me.
I like one in this race, and I'm not alone in that viewpoint, because the one that I like is now 31 into 13.
Demolish.
I tipped into Demolish in the Detonator Stakes, and just nothing went right for him. I thought, all things considered, watching the replay, he was still a very good run. So I'm going to trust the eye, and I'm going to follow up with Demolish.
G. Neville was very expansive, wasn't he, post-race on Wednesday when Lockie interviewed him, prepared a winner, and he went to great lengths to explain, the disappointment, how the race mapped out for Demolish, not only in the Perth Cup, but also first up in that Detonator, Diggs.
Yeah, and you can understand why. I know that Scott was keen on him the other day. He comes out of some decent enough staying events, better staying events than this one, and he just got, and it was through no fault of Stevens. He just got strung up behind him when they went that farcical tempo. Farcical.
Well, there were 13 horses in the field, and they almost came home in identical last 600s.
Horrible watch. It really was.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
I think they went 107 the first 1,000.
Some of these races have been a blight on our racing for a period of time now when they get over these distances, particularly the better class races, which surprises me, Diggs. They just tend to walk around and make them these messy affairs and little sprint homes.
Do we expect that today will be run at a more genuine tempo?
I think the addition of Magic Whistle is a good thing for the race.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And what does Jagsy Turner do with Own the Queen here?
Just gets a bum. Gets a cut.
Rides her forward so she can be prominent. But I do like Magic Whistle being in the race. Natural, flowing, front-running type.
Yep. And drawn 16 too. So he just slides his way across the face of the field, and it just makes them go that little bit harder so they sort out their settling positions.
Does this suit Willie and Captain Pluto? 54 kilos, Diggs.
Yeah, look, it does. I can't come into him. I'm sorry. I've taken a set against him. He's way under the price I marked him at.
Is he just a first-up horse only for you, is he?
Well, no, but he gets to 2,000 pretty quickly.
Yeah.
He's now 0 from 8 with Willie.
Yeah. So he was good the other day. No knock behind Fleur and I thought he found the line nicely. It might have been a really lovely Bunbury Cup trial, but I'm working around him.
Okay, what have you come up with?
Karamundi.
Oh, have you?
I like Karamundi to quote here.
I can't catch Karamundi.
One thing with Curramundi is the other day he was good again. He was sort of strung up in behind. He went to the line a little bit untested, I thought. And what we have seen with Curramundi in races over 1,800 and 2,000 metres previously, if they are run along at a decent enough clip and they're above average in tempo, he can ping off that. So does he have to carry the 59 kilos, and does he meet some of his rivals at worse weight terms than the Detonator? Absolutely he does. But you're getting a quote to find out. So I've gone that way, Curramundi.
Okay, he's at big value there in the Cup today. And as I prefaced, I think if you do find the winner, you do finish up, well and truly on the better side of the ledger. Look, I went with Captain Pluto. I'm going to go with him. I think Willie's got to get him home ultimately here one day. Down on the limit, 54, nice pace on. No great confidence about the selection going into the Cup, but I thought he could beat 7 Demolish. I'm very much in Scott's corner here in regards to it. And Boyd more so, I think, after that interview, it almost got to an emotional stage that Neville was talking about the disappointment there on Wednesday. And you don't hear that too often. Antique Miss, she's progressing along reasonably well at the moment. Curramundi, I tend to think you could throw it into the exotics. I thought Sensational might have been a little bit plainish the other day. It lacked a bit of sprint. In the walk race, it lobbed, had every hope, just couldn't let down when the others did. Maybe that just didn't suit. Maybe he looks to having more pace on. And I see the blinkers are back on I Love Your Smile, but they haven't had much of an impact previously, Scotty, on I Love Your Smile. Not from what I can see.
She did beat Captain Pluto at level weights the last time they met. It's a long time ago.
Anyway, let's nail them down.
7.
In a Bunbury Cup.
Demolish. 13. Own the Queen. Handicap-wise, she's the weighted horse of the race. She has to be hard to beat, perfectly in on the minimum. 6. Captain Pluto. I put him in there out of respect, and I'm happy to be proven wrong. Going back through his staying runs, I'm still not convinced he stays. I know he's a winner at 2,000 and at 2,200, but he had 4 or 5 cracks at 2,200 in a previous preparation, and he was pretty grindy. 3 in for 4th, Antique Miss. Hard to fault the way that she's going. She won the Latrice, which was an ugly, messy race. Won the Detonator, ugly, messy race. But she knows how to get the job done.
Where does she get in the run, Scott, today?
I thought she came out underneath Magic Whistle and landed 1-1.
Right, okay.
Into a nice spot.
Righto.
7, 13, 6 and 3.
Okay, I had a query on where Antique Miss would get in the run, and therefore I left her out of my top 4, so that may well lead to me having egg on my face. But I went 2 each way, Curramundi, at a big quote from 13, Own the Queen, agree with Scott. And one thing you do know with this mare is she has got a turn of acceleration, so if she gets the right run, she can let rip. 5, Red Sun Sensation, comes out of that Detonator and gets some weight relief. One thing with this horse, he just needs to get a little bit of cover. Hopefully Pat can get that today. And 6, Captain Pluto, out of respect for the jockey and trainer combination. 2 each way from 13, 5 and 6.
I think it's what may have tipped me right over the line here. The combination of Grant and Alana and Willie and down onto 54, Captain Pluto. You'd like to be seeing, around $5.50, maybe even $6. It could eventuate that way, just given the evenness of the race to beat 7 Demolish and 3 Antique Miss, 2 Curramundi. I'm 6-7-3-2, Matt.
6-7-3-2 for Darren, 2-13-5-6 for Digby, and 7-13-6-3 for Scott in a race 8. On to the last race, race number 9, which is a 5.15. You can take out 1, 2, 6 and 11. And this is over the 1,400 metres. Number 3 has dug another hole, 8.50. Number 4, Flying South, 11. 5, Premium Girl, 175. Red Tory, 440. Correct choice at 10. Zach Loves to Fly, 16. And Lieutenant Dunbar at 17.
Disappointing in terms of the number going around in the last leg of the quaddie. Let's go with you, Diggs. Premium Girl, very, very good first up.
Oh, yes, she was. She's a winner. I know there's those DQs alongside her name, but she's a very good mare. And the other day, she was really strong over the concluding stages, under 59 kilos. Now, she has to carry the 58 today, but she's the beneficiary also, Scott, of a couple of scratchings in this race.
She'll end up jumping from gate 6.
Yeah.
After all of that, I think she's the logic in the last. She beat GG Pops, carried a kilo more. GG Pops last week came out and was in a near-on 3-way photo with Schmoove Mover and Secret Attraction.
Yep.
The form's already franked right in front of your eyes, and the best part about her is the versatility. The 4 starts ago that she got DQ'd from, she won a graduation mile sitting off the speed and monstered them. She doesn't need to go forward. She can actually sit off the pace and round them up as well.
Looks awfully hard to beat there. Dug another hole, seems to have gone to another level here, and it's into 850 now with the corrected market there. But a horse who looks the leader in the race and might give back as a pretty good side, still at that little bit of value in a small field.
You know where he's going to be. He loves the BTC. Yeah, he makes a bit of sense.
Good track distance horse, Diggs.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's all aboard the Premium Girl train here, is it not?
I would think it is. We're 175 at the moment, but we can lock and load there with her. 3 dug another hole. I'm going Red Tory as my next pick, and then Correct Choice is first up. Probably like to see the horse maybe on a track that has got a bit of yield in it, maybe down the track a little bit for Correct Choice. But 5, 3, 7 and 8, we end the day with a shorty, Scotty.
Well, think about Tony's horses too, your Fast Flickers, your Profit Pockets of the world. They just continue to get better and better. So 5 Premium Girl, I think should be too good for them. 4 Flying South, I still think that he can win a graduation sometime. It just might be in another prep. 3 Dug Another Hole, 7 Red Tory, 5, 4, 3, 7.
5, 7, 8 and 2. Sorry, 5, 7, 8 and 3 for me. Premium Girl from Red Tory, 8 Correct Choice Fresh, and 3 Dug Another Hole, 5, 7, 8 and 3.
Okay, so we're going to bookend the meeting today with a couple of very short price commodities, Matt.
Okay, 5, 3, 7, 8 for you, Darren. 5, 4, 3, 7, Scott. 5, 7, 8, 3 for Digby. We need best bets and the best lays.
Okay, Digby, your special for the day.
My Authoritar, the 2-year-old.
That's bold.
Thank you.
Okay. For you, Scotty.
Watch Me Rock.
Watch Me Rock. Okay, I'll go Just St. James, and yeah, I think Watch Me Rock. Again, I will agree with you in regards to that. I'm going to make Spirited Strike my each way play. Sorry, Diggs, I'll take your best on and look for a bit of value in the race. Race 5, number 2, Spirited Strike. Lay for the day.
Race 3, number 2, Influencing.
Okay, I am race 6, number 6, Scorpion Ruler.
I'm race 4, number 5, Cessation, which I think is under the odds for a 1200. So, and my best is in that race. In terms of play for the day, is there?
I'm going
is there enough
Curramundi
play?
each way in the Cup. I'm convinced he's going to run a really good race off that excellent first up effort. So he is an each way play for me. Curramundi in the Cup currently $23.550.
Watch Me Rock, all up Premium Girl. That doubles $3.70.
I'll make mine race 3, number 7, Brimstone, and maybe roll that up into Spirited Strike. I thought that they're both a bit of value going around in that particular race, their respective races. So, and then maybe the place Triple Missile in the Bunbury Stakes today, $10 still holding up in that small field. So there are our best, our lays, our plays for the day, Matt, and it's time to hit the frog and toad.
It is.
We said we'd get
Sharp.
out by 9, Diggs. I know
No.
that you didn't believe we would.
No, you said 8:45.
Did I?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we didn't do that then.
No, we're a bit tardy.
Clearly, my
Ho-
form has remained very, very
Hopefully the
true.
freeway's nice and clear for you, Darren.
Yeah, you'll be at home. What? Boardies, pool, frothy. Not doing a
Sounds
lot.
pretty good, doesn't it?
What happened to the days, Diggs, when you used to hold up a very good end at the Bunbury Carnival?
Long time ago now.
You found a bar,
Darren, you're wasting time. here.
family members were there,
Yeah.
en masse.
Yeah.
Was a sight.
Oh, yeah. It was a sight early. It was a sight late.
It's a sign of ageing too.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't do it
Responsibility.
anymore. Maddie, you'll be down there with a bottle of natural spring water in hand.
Yes. Yeah.
The new you.
Yeah, sobriety continues.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Scotty, you'll be there suited up. As
Enjoy,
always.
boys.
And
Thanks,
7
Diggs.
races at Geraldton too
Yes.
today.
Looking forward to it too. The big coverage up there as well with the GTC. Thanks for your company. Have a great Bunbury Cup Day and Stakes Day down there at the Bunbury Turf Club, everyone.